Hello and welcome back to Berkay Explores, the channel where we dig deep into the mysteries of our past. Today, we're tackling a story so big it's rewriting the first chapter of human civilization. We're going way, way back, 12,000 years to be precise, to the dusty, windswept plains of southeastern Turkey, a landscape that is turning out to be one of the most important places on Earth for understanding who we are.
It's a privilege to be here, Berkay, and you're not exaggerating. What's happening in that region, specifically with the Taş Tepeler project, isn't just another discovery, it's a paradigm shift. We are witnessing the foundations of our old understanding of the Neolithic revolution, the idea that agriculture came first and complex society followed, being systematically dismantled and rebuilt in real time.
A paradigm shift. That's the perfect way to put it. We're focusing today on the 2025 findings from a site that's been called Göbekli Tepe's sister site, the incredible Karahan Tepe. And folks, what they've found there isn't just an artifact, it's a key that unlocks a 12,000-year-old debate, a Rosetta Stone for a pre-literate people, and it forces us to rethink the very origins of social hierarchy itself.
Exactly. For years, we've seen these enormous T-shaped pillars at sites like Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe, and we've theorized, we've debated in academic journals and conferences, but now we have the smoking gun. For the very first time, archaeologists at Karahan Tepe have unearthed a T-shaped stela with a clear, deliberate, unmistakably human face carved onto it. All the cautious speculation is over.
Wow, so this isn't abstract art anymore. This is a direct message from the past, a face staring at us across a gulf of 1,200 centuries. Let's really set the scene. Dr. Thorne, for our viewers who might be new to this, what is Karahan Tepe? Paint us a picture of this world.
Imagine a world emerging from the grip of the Ice Age around 9500 BCE. The great glaciers are in retreat, and the landscape is in flux. What was once frozen tundra is becoming grassy steppe, teeming with wild gazelle and other game. It was a time of incredible opportunity, but also profound uncertainty. This is the pre-pottery Neolithic period. These people, who we once thought of as simple hunter-gatherers, were building colossal stone temples and communal structures before they had even invented the technology to fire clay into pottery. Think about that priority: monuments before bowls. It tells you their entire worldview was oriented differently. Their most pressing need wasn't just survival and storage, it was meaning, ritual, and community.
Monuments before bowls. That's such a powerful, counterintuitive image. And Karahan Tepe isn't just a small shrine. It's huge, right?
Immense. We're talking about a sprawling complex of 10 to 15 hectares. As you walk across the site today, you can see the tops of over 250 of these T-shaped pillars still sticking out of the ground. And the truly mind-boggling part is that most of them were hewn directly from the living limestone bedrock, with nothing but flint and basalt hand tools. The sheer human energy, the generational commitment, the sophisticated social coordination required to quarry and shape these multi-ton monoliths, it's almost impossible for us to comprehend today.
And what made Karahan Tepe stand out as unique even before this new discovery? I remember reading about its specific focus on human figures.
Precisely. While Gobekli Tepe is justly famous for its spectacular animal carvings, menacing vultures, powerful leopards, cunning foxes, Karahan Tepe has always had a stronger, more direct humanistic element. We have that incredible 2.3-meter-tall statue of a naked man holding his phallus with a very distinct V-shaped collar and astonishingly detailed ribs and fingers. That statue was a bombshell because it stylistically matched the famous Urfa man statue found decades earlier, proving a shared, sophisticated artistic tradition across the region.
So they weren't just isolated, disconnected groups. They were part of a larger cultural world, a network of communities, sharing complex ideas, rituals, and artistic styles long before the first cities or kingdoms.
A vast and interconnected cultural world. And within it, they built highly specialized ritual spaces. Take the AB complex at Karahan Tepe, a sunken structure carved deep into the bedrock. Inside, archaeologists found a forest of phallus-shaped pillars and a bizarre, unsettling serpentine head, a masterfully executed carving of what appears to be a human-snake hybrid. This isn't simple art. This points to a complex, layered mythology, a world of transformation, of shamanic journeys, and of powerful liminal symbols.
Phallic symbols, human-animal hybrids, and now a face on the very type of pillar that started it all. Let's circle back to this game-changing find. For years, the prevailing theory was that the T-pillars were stylized people, but the evidence was frustratingly thin, wasn't it?
Very thin and open to interpretation. We had these tantalizing hints, a faint carving of an arm in low relief on the side of a pillar here, a subtle suggestion of fingers there. It was compelling, but as scientists, we have to be cautious. It remains circumstantial. This new discovery, however, blows all of that ambiguity away. The stela has the classic T shape, but on the top crossbar, what we can now definitively call the head is a face.
Describe it for us. When you look at it, what do you see? What does it feel like?
It's stylized, but incredibly powerful and evocative. There's an expression that is neither smiling nor frowning, but one of immense ancient calm. The eye sockets are carved deep, giving it a sense of watching from the shadows. The nose is prominent, the jaw is strong and defined. It isn't a portrait in the modern sense, but it is undeniably a face, and it carries an aura of immense authority and serenity. Most importantly, the artistic style is a perfect match for the other full-body statues found at the site. It's the final piece of the puzzle, the lock and the key together. The argument is settled. For all these years, these beings were faceless, anonymous symbols. Now one of them has a face. It confirms the T-pillars are people, or perhaps superhuman beings, and it fundamentally changes our relationship with them. We're no longer looking at abstract pillars, we're looking at a silent crowd of individuals.
So every single one of those 250-plus pillars at Karahan Tepe and all the pillars at Göbekli Tepe, they form a silent, eternal crowd of stone people watching over the landscape? That changes everything. What does this confirmation mean for our understanding of the society that built them? It leads us directly to one of the most fascinating and important ideas in modern archaeology, the concept of a status society. For over a century, we've often viewed ancient hierarchies through a Marxist lens of economic class, the owners versus the workers, the haves versus the have-nots. But the archaeological evidence here suggests something different, something that may have come first. These were still largely egalitarian hunter-gatherer groups transitioning to farming. We don't see palaces or vast granaries to store private surplus or royal tombs filled with treasure. No one owned vast tracts of land or controlled food production in a way that creates a wealthy ruling class. So that's the central mystery. We have a society that seems egalitarian in its daily life. No kings, no palaces, yet it produces monuments that require an immense, organized hierarchy. How can those two realities exist at the same time?
Exactly. Their hierarchy wasn't based on wealth, it was based on status, on social prestige. And the core hypothesis, which this new find beautifully supports, is that this status was derived from a monopoly on knowledge.
A monopoly on knowledge? You mean like a secret priesthood? What do you mean?
Imagine a group of individuals, shamans, elders, ritual specialists, who were the keepers of the tribe's most sacred stories, its mythology, its cosmology. They held the calendar in their heads. They knew the movements of the stars, the right time for rituals, for birth and death, for a successful hunt. They could interpret the signs in nature and perhaps communicate with the powerful spirits and ancestors represented by these very stone figures. Their power wasn't coercive, based on swords or granaries. It was ideological. Think of them as having the only key to the operating system of their reality. It was the power of the storyteller, the mapmaker of the cosmos. In a world without writing, the person who holds the collective memory and explains the unexplainable holds the keys to the entire social order.
So people participated in these massive building projects not because they were forced to by a king with an army, but out of a profound belief, out of a shared need for the cosmic structure, the sense of place that these shamans or specialists provided.
That's the leading theory. Their influence was so profound, it allowed them to mobilize the entire community for generations. But this leads to a critical question. How do you maintain that kind of power? Pure status is fragile. Eventually, doesn't it curdle into a desire for material wealth and power? We see it time and again in history.
That seems to be the unavoidable story of human history. So how did they stop it from happening? How did this system last for what seems to be centuries, maybe even millennia?
The answer, we think, might be the monuments themselves. The very act of quarrying, carving, erecting, and gathering at these sites was a constant performance of the ideology. The architecture wasn't just a result of their belief system, it was the engine that perpetuated it. Think of it. Every generation that worked on the pillars, that attended the ceremonies, that feasted in the enclosures, was actively reinforcing the power and prestige of the knowledge keepers. The monument was the social contract, carved in stone.
That is absolutely mind-bending. The process was the purpose. It wasn't just about the finished product, but about the collective act of creation. But it still leaves one final haunting question. If these are monumental people, what kind of people?
Now we're at the cutting edge of the interpretation, moving from archaeology to the anthropology of religion. Given the whole symbolic context, the pervasive phallic imagery, the strange human-animal hybrids, was the face on this new stela simply a portrait of a revered ancestor, a great leader, or was it something more, something other? Was it a representation of the shamanic figure itself?
A being who transcends normal categories, who walks between worlds, perhaps. A figure who could mediate between the human world, the animal world, and the spirit world. A being who wasn't defined by ordinary biological constraints, but by their spiritual power and their ability to undergo transformation. The status being immortalized in stone wasn't just leadership as we might think of it. It was a specific kind of mystical, transformative power that was seen as the very foundation of their society and its relationship with the cosmos. So a single face carved 12,000 years ago opens a window not just into a lost world, but into the birth of social inequality itself, a hierarchy born from belief, not from wealth. It proves these fundamental questions of power, identity, and our place in the cosmos are not modern inventions. They were being debated, symbolized, and built into the very landscape at the dawn of our new world. It's just astonishing to think about. Dr. Thorne, thank you so much for this incredible, mind-expanding deep dive.
The pleasure was all mine, Berkay. These discoveries remind us that our ancestors were just as complex and brilliant as we are. These are exciting times.
And to everyone watching Berkay Explores, we want to know what you think. We'll put a high-resolution image of the face on our community page. Look into its eyes, eyes that were carved 12,000 years ago. What emotion do you see there? Is it authority, serenity, something else entirely? I'm genuinely curious to read your interpretations in the comments below. Let's try to solve this mystery together. What's your theory? Are we looking at a priest, a king, an ancestor, or something else entirely? Drop your best guess in the comments. And of course, if this journey back in time blew your mind, please give this video a like and be sure to subscribe to Berkay Explores channel for more deep dives into the mysteries of our past. Share it with anyone who loves history, archaeology, and the big questions. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next exploration.